How's it going, y'all? So this one I'm pretty familiar with because I know I've always had a problem with this issue of necessarily having double standards. And I necessarily actually made, I believe, an episode on my podcast that I haven't been on lately, which is called the Young OG Network on Anchor FM. So yeah, download the Anchor app and check that out. Because I always wondered why some people are okay with double standards as long as it was fitting towards, I guess, their agenda or their, I guess, way of living or their paradigm, I guess, of how life's supposed to be, but necessarily not caring about how that affects another person. Yeah. Because, like, for instance, I know this is probably not going to be acceptable to most people, but take, for example, dating, or from like maybe starting from when you go like high school on to like adulthood, I guess, if that's a fair range. So when necessarily a little boy decides to ask out a girl and stuff, and of course, if they're talking, he asks her to take her out on a date, she says yes, this, that, and the third. And necessarily, maybe they go meet the parents necessarily. Okay, I gotta stop saying that word necessarily. It's getting to be annoying. But back to the point of meeting parents. So let's say, for instance, the boy meets the girl's parents first, right? Now, off gate, the mom's probably going to be like the nicest person out of all of them, as far as the parents are concerned. But the dad, that's the dude that's going to hate you the most. And because of the fact that you're going out his little girl, and because of the fact that he is a man, of course, and he remembers what he was like at that age, he's gonna be a little bit more, I guess, somewhat confrontational in that interaction because of the fact that he thinks the boy is gonna have some kind of ulterior motive towards his daughter. So in order for that to, I guess, cease, he has to necessarily put a sense of fear in him in order to let him know that his daughter is not to be fucked with. Otherwise, he's gonna fuck him up, that whole deal and whatnot, which is understandable. I mean, because as a father, you have to protect your children, especially your daughters. I mean, that's pretty much your given right as a father. Right? But at the same time, you have to know that the person who you're actually doing that to is somebody else's child. But I don't think too many people think of other people's children in regard because they're pretty much in the sense of, I have to protect my child first and forget about yours at that very moment because he's involved with a seed from my loins, this, that, and third. Yeah. Now, in that sense, if that jump was flipped around, there would possibly be no kind of parallel at all because of the fact that I think the standards, I guess, of society of, excuse me, as far as where it relates to men is we're allowed to only be one certain way, which of course is masculine. Yeah, because we all know there's a masculine energy and there's a feminine energy. We all know that. But with that being said, as far as the masculine energy is concerned, we have to necessarily be in a position to just take care of ourselves, pretty much withstand any kind of, I guess, adversity, whether it comes from a direct approach or indirectly. But basically, we have to stand alone against any and every objective, no matter how much it may hurt us, no matter how much it psychologically screws us up. We just basically have to take that shit to the chin and then pretty much just be able to walk on somehow. Yeah, because that's just how the narrative is. I mean, it's fucked up to say, and I never really actually agree with it, because if you actually go that hard for your daughter, why would you not go that hard for your son? I mean, is he not your flesh and blood as much as the daughter is? Right? But I mean, that's something else we can pretty much blame society on, because I think a lot of us pretty much outline our whole lives based on what society deems as the right way, I guess. And necessarily build up some sort of, I guess, impediment on our own thought process and makes us not want to think for ourselves. So, in that sense, we pretty much just going with what that plan is instead of making our own plan. Because I'm thinking, if it was your choice to start a family, your choice to have your own kids, have your own house, have your own car, wouldn't it make sense to have your own rules? I mean, have your own way of doing things. I mean, maybe that's just something I think of, because I was just taught from early age just to think for myself. It was hard to grasp at first, but now I see what my mother was trying to necessarily pass on to me, and I'm glad she did. Appreciate you, Mom, for that way of thinking, because that's necessarily what I would pass on to anyone that came from my loins as far as like offspring is concerned. But let me put this in perspective. There's nothing like that coming as of yet. No kids yet. People, I made a video about that, so I mean, you already know what's up. So don't ask. But yeah, double standards are pretty much, I think, everybody's way of saying they can accept a certain method of doing things and certain restrictions that come along with it, as long as it benefits them. But as far as the other party is concerned, like you say, it's pretty much give you a big fucking middle finger and says, keep it moving, basically. And I mean, which is why I think in this day and age, double standards are seen to be a lot more accepted than, I guess, somebody just saying, nah, this shit's not right. And whoever ends up saying this shit's not right, they pretty much get chastised. I mean, all over the internet, all in person, pretty much any and everywhere they go, they pretty much receive the shitty end of the stick, I guess. And I just never really agreed with that. So necessarily, if we're all trying to be on the same playing field, shouldn't we have that kind of conversation to where we can come to a compromise or something like that? Or am I just the only one who just thinks that way? Because at the end of the day, double standards shouldn't only just benefit one person. It should benefit all, or just not existed whatsoever. But that's just my take on double standards. So that's all I got. Peace.